Universal has a new threat, and it's not Disney, it's Six Flags? Wait, what? Did you hear the biggest theme park news of the year? Cedar Fair and Six Flags are planning to merge, creating a brand new 27-park company called Six Flags. Could this be a threat to Universal? Let's find out. Let's check out exactly what's going on. So Cedar Fair and Six Flags, which own a bunch of parks throughout the United States like Six Flags, Great America, Kings Island, or even Knott's Berry Farm, are planning to merge. This will be a merge of equals, so Six Flags is not outright buying Cedar Fair or vice versa. Instead, they are combining forces to create a new company, which will be called Six Flags but will trade as FUN, the name previously used by Cedar Fair on the stock market. Zimmerman, who came from Cedar Fair, will be the CEO. Celine Basul, president and the CEO of Six Flags, will become executive chairman with access to the board. But don't underestimate his new role on this new company. Six Flags was trying to become like Cedar Fair, and Cedar Fair was looking at expanding their brand, especially by having more year-round parks. Six Flags was going through a lot of financial troubles, going back years before some of you were even born. So I think this merger was inevitable. Either these two companies join forces or they downsize significantly. This merger will allow for a more streamlined operation and better value for guests, providing more for theme park fans. This venture will allow Six Flags to have access to Cedar Fair's unique expertise. For instance, Cedar Fair has been looking at improving their parks, and they also have very good management. On the other hand, Cedar Fair will now have access to Six Flags technology and operations and, most importantly, their brand. Their new market is now gigantic, owning 2 parks in Canada and even one in Mexico, giving access to the Latin American market. There are some problems, specifically in California, where some parks are really close to each other, but I don't see that as a problem now that they can market both parks together. Unfortunately, it seems as if California's Great America will still be closing down, unfortunately. Also, this deal will give both parks access to their respective intellectual properties with DC, Looney Tunes, and Snoopy. The transaction, which was approved by both companies' boards, is targeted to close in the first half of next year. It still needs approval from some shareholders and regulatory approval as well. Will the government let this one pass? Well, we don't know. This might not happen at all. However, it will be a bit strange saying, yeah, Knott's Berry Farm is technically a Six Flags park now. Now, how will this merger affect Universal destinations and experiences? First off, is just the sheer size of this deal. Having almost 30 parks around 17 states is an impressive fact. This doesn't mean less people visit Universal, it means Universal need to be more aggressive with their investments, specifically in thrill rides. Since both Six Flags and Cedar Fair have an impressive lineup, Universal could focus more on theming, since there is where Six Flags lacks. Universal also has an advantage with their high-class and immersive guest experience. However, this new Six Flags emphasizes improved guest experience through a more robust operation model and a technology platform. So, they know what they are up against. However, the question remains if they can make their parks better for the guests, as theming is lacking and the parks are filled with sponsorships and in-your-face branding. Cedar Fair has made an effort to improve their food selection, and this is where Universal could be lacking behind, as at least in Orlando many of their quick service options are mediocre at best. Now let's talk about one of the most important parts of this deal that most people are neglecting: intellectual properties and partnerships. Now, with the power of Snoopy and DC, Cedar Fair / Six Flags could have an impressive IP lineup that caters to different demographics. DC is also in direct competition with Marvel superheroes, which is part of Islands of Adventure. However, the implementation at the parks is lackluster, especially the newer additions featuring modest to no theming. However, some Six Flags parks do have cool theming for DC, like Six Flags Mexico. So, if this new Six Flags could power up and enhance the superhero experience, they could compete with Universal, at least on the local market, not for international tourists. Properties like Looney Tunes could provide a nice atmosphere for kids, but Universal has the edge with more popular IPs like Trolls. But where I think this new Six Flags 2.0 can become a threat to Universal is in the regional market. They could create a better experience at their parks with impressive theming and immersive experiences and great thrill rides. They could incentivize families to not travel to Florida or California, but instead visit their local parks with ultra competitive pricing. Parks like Cedar Point and Fiesta, Texas already have that potential on being the Disneyland of their respective states. So, you may know Universal is planning a brand new regional park located in Frisco, Texas, which is closer to Six Flags over Texas. The first Six Flags park and a very weak one at that. If Cedar Fair management could power up this park, it could be in competition with this new Universal park. The problem is that Universal Frisco, as I'm going to call it, is targeting kids, while Six Flags is more like a teenager hangout park. Meaning management would need to invest heavily into child-friendly experiences. The Texas theme park market is booming, as even Peppa Pig is opening a new park, which will be in direct competition with this Universal Frisco. If Universal really wants to open more regional parks like the one in Frisco, they need to level up and create super immersive experiences that offer a better value than Cedar Fair or Six Flags. Or they could target younger audiences, and I think this is one of the reasons Six Flags and Cedar Fair announced this merger. This merger is about survival against other theme parks that have focused more on the guest experience like Universal. This new Six Flags can provide a lot of value for those that can't afford a trip to Universal, especially with so many parks around the 3 countries. And if they can leverage their IP to create better experiences rather than just slapping the name of a Flash on a new coaster, they could compete with Universal. But one thing Universal and even Disney still have an advantage is with families, with their current IP like Trolls and Minions and immersive experiences. And Disney, I mean, just look at how much money Frozen 2 made. So it's not as if Disney and Universal are going bankrupt, but if Cedar Fair, Six Flags do this right, they could have their place in the spotlight. Now, will we see a new coaster war? I don't think so. For those unaware, the coaster wars were this period where every regional park was trying to one-up each other by building bigger and better coasters. However, that came with a lot of problems, especially money-wise, as Six Flags to this day still has a lot of that. While they did improve the park by adding new rides, they didn't make a better experience. I think we would rather see a guest experience wars. Yeah, I know it doesn't have a cool name, but I believe amusement parks, especially local ones like Dollywood or Silver Dollar City and even Busch Gardens, will compete to create a better package to guests. That means theming, food, shopping, and experiences for the whole family. We already saw Six Flags trying that with a new glamping experience at one of their most popular parks. This merger also means more stability for Cedar Fair, as they would now not depend so much on just one park like Cedar Point or Knott's Berry Farm, where a storm, for instance, can impact attendance and decrease revenue significantly. Now, with Six Flags parks, they can rely less on one geographical location. This merger might change the theme park industry forever. The only question is, will it happen? While the government has to approve it, and that remains up in the air. Also, this transition will take time, so don't expect major changes for the next 2024 season. I think this is a positive change. With a looming recession incoming and the massive amount of debt both companies have, it became inevitable. Universal is gearing up for massive changes worldwide that could threaten Six Flags and Cedar Fair. The company is investing a lot on their parks, so I don't think Six Flags 2 will have a huge impact, but it is enough to make a splash in the industry. However, Universal is opening a brand new park coming really soon called Epic Universe. This park will include many experiences and even roller coasters. So if you wanna find out more about this park called Epic Universe, well, you have to click the video on the screen right now.